is a video for connecting an armoured cable resin joint. First of all, you prepare the armoured cable on one end, as so, ready for your joint. You have to get the right amount either side to get the joint appropriate. So I'm just going to prepare the other side of the armoured cable. Okay, I'm just going to strip an armoured cable back. So first of all, I will score around the edge with a junior hacksaw, just enough that you score the steel wire, but don't go all the way through. It can be tricky. It's a bit cold out here today, so it can be a bit tricky. So you can prefer to use a junior hacksaw or a standard hacksaw. In this case, I'm using a junior hacksaw. Okay, just going to use a knife to strip back the protective insulation on top. And as I've removed that, like I said, we're going to score the steel, so this makes it easier to remove the steel to the exact location where you want it. So that will just bend, bend, and off. You may get the odd few that don't come away. It's purely because it just didn't get enough of the blade to score it. There you go. That's the armoured cable stripped back, and all we're going to do now is to strip back enough here for the earth connection. And now I'm just going to expose the cores. With this one, be careful, you don't go all the way through. Purely you're scoring the insulation. If you don't have a knife like this, you can very easily use a standard utility knife, or you might refer it to a standing knife. And always remember to do the knife away from you. I'm just going to use a pair of cutters to open out. It is cold. Use the pliers or cutters. Go. It's the armoured cable stripped back. But as you can see, if you go too far, you will score it. But in this instance, it's okay because this section here is going to be cut away. So that's how you strip an armoured cable back. Okay, for the jointing kit, we now have the plastic casing, which would hold the joint and then hold the resin into it. this is the actual lid for the plastic casing. Once the cables have been inserted and jointed, this will lap over as so. If I take that apart, this will then close the joint into there as such. This is the jointing kit. So this is actually a 4-core jointing, where we're not using 4 cores in this instance, just 3. So you got your 4 connections, you got your earth strap, which will join the 2 steels together on that side. And once that's joined, you close this off as so. And this is a 2-part resin, which will be mixed and poured from the top to make it a waterproof joint. Casing back in order for us to accept our cable. See, for look, it's got markers for different size of cable. So in this instance, I've cut 2 back, which would accept our armoured cable when the case is closed. Okay, got these cable connection separators. So these come in 2 separate parts, as so. You just put them together, and this basically separates our connections, as so. This is a connection, a little butt connector as they call it. So this would then accommodate the connections at separate parts as so. So I've just stripped the cores back, open up one of the joints, this will go in as so, and then tighten each one. Remember to double check your joints. Okay, I would now do this for the other 3 and get it ready for jointing on the other side. Okay, so the armoured cable on one end, which was the shorter armoured cable, for the extension for this side of the armoured cable, has now been prepared with the joints ready here. This is now stripped back, so this will then now just be connected as so, and then placed into the case. So I'll just start by putting the grey in. Remember to make sure you have it all fully in, and then tighten down. So as you feel when the Allen key here starts to spin, it has reached its maximum torque. It depends on the type of kit you get. Some of these joints here, as you tighten them, they have a little snap off, so they snap. So don't be afraid that you've damaged it. It's how it's designed. Okay, I have now the grey core connected as so, which is ready to be placed into here after I carry out the connections for the other 3. Okay, this is your cable all jointed. I'm just using a pair of pliers to get extra torque to check all my terminations. Just make sure there's nothing loose. There you go. You always end up getting a quarter turn or so on each joint. So it's best to do this, as once the cable is in the casing with the resin, you won't have a second chance to get to it. Okay, and now I'm just going to insert the joint separator in, so just to make sure everything is okay there. There you go. Okay, so next for me is just take this back out, and just as a precaution, we would apply the provided insulation tape onto each joint before we carry out the connection for the steel wire protection, or as you can say an earth protection as well. Yeah. Okay, as an extra precaution, I have just insulation taped the joints. So now I can go ahead and install the joint separator, as so. Okay, that's now been put in place. Now the next part is to join the earth strap with these little clips that strap around on the outside. So I will now just prepare by stripping the protective insulation on the outside of the braided steel wire provided, and that will now, we will open these clips, two provided. You have to hold this firmly in place while you wrap this around. All you have to do is wrap it around, and it will automatically carry out tightness over it, as you can see. That's it, and that's on. We'll do the same for this side. I'm just going to cut this back, as so, and prepare this side. Okay, and now I've actually made the joint complete with the earth connection. So I'm just going to place the armoured cable into the casing. And then we're just going to place the top on. And just close that. And just the precaution, either side, just tape it down, so as we pour the resin in, it doesn't come out the sides. It won't harm you to put a bit of tape around the top, just to hold the casing down as well. Now the casing is now ready for you to pour the resin. So we're just going to prepare the resin, and these are the gloves provided. Important you put the gloves on, otherwise the resin will be all over you. Open the resin packet up. And out comes the resin. So this is a two-part resin with the center part as the divider. So we have to pull the center part out, as so. Now the resin can be mixed together. So make sure it's all mixed together. You can crunch it. You can lay it flat. Once you can see majority of the resin has been mixed, you'll be ready to cut one corner of this bag and then pour. Okay, our feelers, I've mixed as much as I can, so I'm just going to clear a corner and then cut the plastic away, as so, and then just pour when it decides to come out. Trying to go slow so it allows the resin to spread everywhere. As you can see, the resin is now spreading throughout the whole case, and this is providing an insulated core to our armoured cable. Make sure you allow the resin to spread as much as you can everywhere. If you need to stop it, stop. And then just move around slightly. Continue the resin till you get to the top.
Yep.
Okay, I've just stopped and just tip in either side, making sure the resin moves around. Let's cover our joints, and then I will now continue once again. Just so you know, this is a two-part resin, so this would actually go, it would harden over time. So even if the plastic casing breaks, your cable is still safe. So just continue to keep filling till you get to the top. Okay, I've sort of reached to the top now, so I'll just stop pouring and just inspect casing and ensure that the resin has covered all areas. So I'll just stop here for now, and I can see a few places where it's missed, so I'm just going to move it around. You have to repeat this process many times by stopping, moving the resin around, repouring. So I'm just squeezing our packet to get every bit of resin out as much as I can. I would like to go right to the top before I put the case on. Okay, I've now reached the top of a pot, and you can just make sure to check you have covered all areas. Now just to put the lid on. That's now sealed it shut, and just again precaution to put a little bit of tape over a little lid, just so under movement it doesn't open away. Ensure to check both ends and make sure we don't have any seeping or any leaking. In this case we had a small little leak on this side, which we have just take back up again. One method of joining two armoured cables together, where one armoured cable was short to reach to our destination. Thank you very much for watching our video.